ce match, l'équipe du Canada. Frappant première, jouant deuxième but, numéro 1.
Let's meet the starting lineups, beginning with the visiting Team Canada. Playing second base, batting first, number 1, Kelsey Harshman.
Au deuxième rang, jouant troisième but, numéro 19.
Batting second, playing third base, number 19, Emma Ensminger.
Frappant troisième, jouant premier but, numéro 13.
Batting third, first base, number 13, Zoe Hicks.
Frappant quatrième, l'arrêt-court, numéro 14.
Batting fourth, the shortstop, number 14, Janet Lear.
Frappant cinquième, voiture de droite, numéro 44.
Batting fifth, the right fielder, number 44, Kiana Jones.
Au sixième rang, voltigeur de gauche, numéro 3.
Batting sixth, the left fielder, number 3, Erica Polidori.
Frappant septième, joueuse désignée, numéro 77.
Batting seventh, the designated player, number 77, Grace Mesmer.
Au huitième rang, voltigeur de centre, numéro 5.
Batting eighth, the center fielder, number 5, Callum Pilgrim.
Frappant neuvième, receveur, numéro 15.
Batting ninth, the catcher, number 15, Nicole Rivet.
En position flex, lanceur, numéro 4.
And in the flex spot, the pitcher, number 4, Sam Ryan.
Les substituts, numéro 7.
The substitutions for Canada, number 7, Madeline McKinnon.
Numéro 8.
Number 8, Morgan Reimer.
Numéro 10.
Number 10, Ruby Anderson.
Numéro 12.
Number 12, Kristen Boyd.
Numéro 17.
Number 17, Sarah Grumwegen.
Numéro 18.
Number 18, Donna Bodra.
Numéro 22.
Number 22, Riley Crane.
Numéro 28.
Number 28, Nicholas Simpson.
Numéro 99.
Number 99, Morgan Raquel.
Numéro 2.
And number 2, Natalie Whiteman.
L'équipe du Canada.
Team Canada.
Voici l'équipe locale pour ce match, l'équipe du Mexique, frappant première, voltigeur de gauche, numéro 22.
And now the batting order for Team Mexico, beginning with the left fielder, number 22, Savannah Waisoki.
Frappant deuxième, jouant deuxième but, numéro 16.
Batting second, the second base, number 16, Marlene Espinoza.
Au troisième rang, l'arrêt-court, numéro 8.
Batting third, the shortstop, number 8, Jillian Zadis.
Frappant quatrième, joueuse désignée, numéro 3.
Batting fourth, the designated player, number 3, Madeline Ruffin.
Au cinquième rang, jouant troisième but, numéro 29.
Batting fifth, the third base, number 29, Yanina Trevino.
Frappant sixième, jouant premier but, numéro 86.
Batting sixth, first base, number 86, Kiana Estrada.
Frappant septième, voltigeur de droite, numéro 23.
Batting seventh, the right fielder, number 23, Stefania Aradias.
Frappant huitième, receveur, numéro 15.
Batting eighth, the catcher, number 15, Alexia Lopez.
Au neuvième rang, voltigeur de centre, numéro 27.
Batting ninth, the center fielder, number 27, Elisa Rovalero.
Et en position flex, voltigeur de gauche, numéro 9.
In the flex position, the pitcher, number 9, Racy Miranda.
Les substituts, numéro 2.
The substitutions, number 2, Alejandra Casas.
Numéro 21.
Number 21, Emily Bracamonte.
Numéro 18.
Number 18, Lindsay Lopez.
Numéro 99.
Number 99, Lina Robaledo.
Numéro 1.
Number 1, Alexandra Aguilar.
Numéro 4.
And number 4, Kimberly Rodas.
L'équipe du Mexique.
Team Mexico.
Les arbitres pour ce match. Au premier but.
Your officials for tonight's competition. First base umpire, James English.
Au deuxième but.
Second base umpire, Michael Elkins.
Au troisième but.
Third base umpire, Laura McMillan.
Et au arbre.
And the plate umpire, Terry Richter.
Mesdames et messieurs, veuillez maintenant vous lever si vous en êtes capable pour les hymnes nationaux du Canada et du Mexique.
And now, ladies and gentlemen, we do ask that you please rise and please remove all caps for the playing of the national anthems of Canada and Mexico.
équipe et bon match.
And now, softball fans, let's play ball.
A sold-out Softball City Diamond 1 after a wonderful parade of athletes and the official opening speeches and ceremony, followed now by Canada's second game of the day, and they will take on Team Mexico. Canada fell 8-0 in 5 innings to Triple Crown Colorado, who put on quite a display earlier today. And Team Mexico, with a record of 1-2 so far in the tournament, they're coming off a disappointing 2-1 loss at the hands of Israel last night in the final game of day number 2. Just another magnificent night here in South Surrey, White Rock, British Columbia. And there is a look at Mexico's starting batting lineup. Jillian Celis moved down, Amanda, from the number 1 spot into the number 3 hole tonight, looking to maybe provide a little bit more run production. She has been superb, and she leads that Mexico lineup. Their starting pitcher tonight is 20-year-old Racy Miranda, who's a product of Strawberry, Arizona. She hails from Cal State Fullerton as far as where she plays collegiately. And Miranda making her second appearance of this Canada Cup tournament. 5 innings in Mexico's win over Greece on opening day. Gave up no runs, 3 hits, struck out 6, and did not walk anyone. And she will face Canada's leadoff hitter, Kelsey Harshman, in the tournament. Kelsey is 4 for 11, 2 doubles, and a run batted in. She was 0 for 3 this afternoon against Triple Crown Colorado. And we are set to get underway. And glad to have you with us on our live stream, no matter where you are looking on. And Miranda deals and misses just outside to Harshman. The product of Delta, British Columbia, a star player at the University of Wisconsin. And rips one right into the glove, and Kelsey felt like it was foul, and it was very close. And Kaylee Rafter, the Canadian head coach, already out of the dugout. And Kelsey urging the umpiring crew now to get together. Wonder if we could get another look at that play. And it's going to stand. They conferred, they talked about it. Harshman out, 3 unassisted. Good glove play by youngster Kiana Estrada. Emma Ensminger. Emma was 0 for 2 in the game. 3 for 10 in the tournament. Is the product of Victoria, British Columbia. Has a double, a home run, and 3 runs batted in. As Canada looks to rebound from a game that is not common. They only managed one hit in the game. And Miranda finds the outside corner with a rise ball. Racy at Cal State Fullerton, 4-5 on the year, a 3.08 earned run average, 30 strikeouts, and walked 21. And bounces this one to the starting catcher tonight. Her battery mate is Alexia Lopez. And we'll set the defense for you shortly. On the ground, staying down to make the play is Marlene Espinoza.
Yeah, good job on Marlene over there. We've seen a couple bad hops with hard hit balls over at second base. Stays down, makes a good play at first.
So a couple of groundouts for Canada. 9 runs in their first game, 7 runs against Greece, then an impressive 7 runs in a key round-robin win over Italy yesterday evening. They're all running together now. And a tough one for a good hitting lineup. And Zoe Hicks has been a nice addition to this Canadian national women's team. Officially 5 for 12 in the tournament. And in a very prominent number 3 hole in the lineup, the 25-year-old from Boissevain, Manitoba, facing Racy Miranda, Canada, with a record of 3-1, just behind both 3-0 Japan and 3-0 Triple Crown Colorado. Japan on the docket next. They'll face Team Greece, still looking for its first victory. That pitch outside to Hicks.
Again, I think we're going to see a lot of off speed here, try and catch Canada with their weight forward and force ground balls or swing and misses here from Racy.
Miranda gets the sign. And Hicks, a quality piece of hitting as she drives the ball into left field. And Zoe Hicks has her 6th hit of the Canada Cup, and Canada has its first of the game. And no better story in this Canada Cup for the home team than 29-year-old shortstop Janet Leung. And my partner is the longtime shortstop for Team Italy, Amanda Fama, joining me this week. And she said it best. Even in that 8-0 loss, Janet Leung put on a shortstop clinic. And Amanda would know that's where she toiled her trade her entire career, including being an Olympian for Italy 2 summers ago in Tokyo, Japan. And Janet, who's always been noted for her work at shortstop, is batting .500. In fact, she had the only hit today for Canada in that loss to Triple Crown Colorado. Homered last night, 6 for 12. And a big jump over there by Hicks that just for a second, Amanda, I thought might draw a throw, but did not. So see if Janet Leung, normally over the years, and granted, there's been some very key changes for the Canadian hitting lineup. No Victoria Hayward, Jennifer Salling now coaching at first base. Larissa Franklin, who is hurt. Leung trying to punch it by Estrada, unable to. So a successful top of the first. Canada with 1 hit, they strand 1. Mexico coming to bat when we return on a glorious night for international softball in South Surrey. Team Canada takes to the field in their second and final game. They've played 2 games the last 2 consecutive days, so their schedule will slow up. Still a round-robin ending date with Japan on Friday in the second last game of the round-robin this week before the playoffs begin here on Saturday morning. All 8 teams will participate. The big difference is there is an extra playoff life, or chance, if you prefer that term, for teams that finish 1 through 4. If you finish 5 through 8, you are in a must-win scenario in every game. Samantha Ryan from Monroe, New York, a dual citizen, in her second appearance for Team Canada, threw 3 innings in Canada's second game, a 7-2 victory over Team Greece. Samantha went 3 innings, gave up 2 runs on 5 hits, and struck out a pair as she faces the speedy leadoff hitter and left fielder, Savannah Wysocki. And Mexico looking to rebound from their 2-1 setback at the hands of a team I've really enjoyed this week in Team Israel. They've been the real surprise story. They're not in that elite group here, but they're taking steps, and a good drop ball from Samantha Ryan swung on and missed as the count runs to 1-2 on Wysocki. Count even. Samantha's just 21. Attended Chattanooga State Community College and is on her way to a Division I program at the University of Louisiana. Change-up, staying alive, was Wysocki. Savannah officially 2-for-4 so far in the 2 games she has participated in. And Samantha Ryan, as far as playing for Canada, arguably her greatest time came in California at the 2019 U19 World Cup, where she was a huge part of the Canadian pitching staff. And that was awfully close to Wysocki going around, that won a bronze medal at that event in California. So the speedy Wysocki on base with a leadoff walk, and she is more than a threat to run. Mexico not afraid with this lineup that's very different than their Olympic team. They've had a massive turnover as well, like many teams. And they are not afraid to put the ball in play and participate in, Amanda, what I refer to, and everybody does in the sport, as the small ball game.
And the small ball's huge. A lot of us take it for granted. Everyone wants to see a home run. But a lot of times that small ball or simple play with no outs here, you want to get that runner in scoring position, sacrifice an out. A lot are willing to do that. So it's really important to have that small ball down. And as tough as it is, but get that bunt down and sacrifice yourself. And
an excellent bunt as Hicks makes the throw, and Harshman had to climb the ladder a little to haul it in, and she showed home plate umpire Richter that she had full possession of it. And Wysocki is still at first, so they must have called Espinoza for stepping on the plate when she bunted.
Yeah, it looks like her right foot comes out of the box. The umpire immediately calls it. But I don't know, everyone played it, Peter, but...
Well, a break for Canada. And does not allow their hottest and best hitter, Jillian Solis, to have a runner in scoring position. She's had a great tournament and shows you why. Drives it one bounce off the fence. The runner is held, and Jillian Solis continues to be as red hot as her Mexican uniform.
Great job with Jillian being aggressive there. Again, like I've said a couple times in the tournament, you're going to get a good pitch early on in the count. She knows that. Drives that left center, puts herself and her teammate in a good scoring position.
Jillian is now 7 for 11 in the tournament. That's her third double. And Mexico threatening early against Samantha Ryan. And Canada already with Morgan Rackle up and working in their bullpen. And the batter is the designated player, Madeline Ruffin. Ruffin 2 for 7 in the event. On the ground. And Kelsey Harshman played it perfectly. She looked Wysocki back. She thought, I think, Amanda, just for a second, do I have her caught in a rundown or not?
Right, and Harshman's been solid at second also, and that's a tough play because runner at third started to go. Confused Harshman a little bit, wanted to backpick her at third, but made a great decision going over to one. And it's hard. She started to move her feet and whatnot, but came around, got the out at one. 2 outs here for Canada.
So a real opportunity for Samantha Ryan. It's always difficult for a young pitcher. This is a huge crowd. Just take a look around the diamond. There are no empty spots. It is what I like to jokingly refer to as jam sandwich here tonight. And wouldn't have it any other way.
Yeah, this is a great turnout. It's packed. And it's nice weather. Again, we've been talking about this a few times, but great softball weather at Softball City.
And another glorious night. Yanina Trevino is the batter, playing over at third base. And the changeup finds the strike zone from the Canadian 21-year-old starter, Samantha Ryan, who does have some international experience at the senior women's level. She participated in the Canada Cup last year. It gets away from Rive, and Wysocki beats it out. And Mexico on what might be scored a pass ball takes a 1-0 lead. Nope, that's a wild pitch.
Yeah, right to the legs. Gets in there though, good slide. Good job being aggressive with 2 outs. Again, getting ahead early in the game is going to be key here.
In on the hands of Trevino. Canada going with Nicole Rive behind the plate. Natalie Weidman, their number 1 catcher, performed earlier today. There's Trevino in front of a good changeup from Samantha Ryan. Through 5 1/3 at this event 1 year ago. Her best outing, 3 2/3, gave up 1 run and 5 hits against the Philippines. And a strikeout to end the inning. Canada gives up 1, and they find themselves trailing after not falling behind in their first 3 wins at the Canada Cup. Surrey, British Columbia's Kiana Jones is, well, that's one of my favorite sights, I must say. Canadian flags in many places tonight, and this jams. Not a lot of spots to find a seat tonight here at Softball City. Jones, this afternoon, did not record a hit in the game. Canada only had one. She's now 3 for 10 in this tournament. And she's just 21 years of age. Hit it hard at Espinoza. One down is Racy Miranda off to a good beginning tonight on the rubber for Mexico. And here is a player for Canada that I expect to heat up. Erica Polidori, looking for her first hit. The 31-year-old veteran, just a superb human, and has hit some balls hard, but hasn't found first base yet. And shows a good eye on the first offering from Racy Miranda. Polidori was 2 for 11 and drove in 3 at last summer's World Games in Birmingham, Alabama. Into this one, playable. 2 away. As Wysocki hauls that in left.
And even though that's an out, a deep ball, though, and good contact should give her a little bit of confidence going into the rest of the game that she can catch up to this Mexico pitching staff.
Grace Mesmer is the designated player. Plays collegiately in a very good program at Oregon State in Corvallis, Oregon, part of the Pac-12. An excellent softball conference. Generally dominated by teams like UCLA and Arizona, Stanford, Washington. It's a great conference. I could go on for quite some time. Stanford, Washington participated in the College World Series. UCLA, the number 2 seed all year, behind Oklahoma, the eventual and 3-time champion, didn't get out of their own region and lost to teams that, frankly, if I mentioned the names, people wouldn't have heard of the schools that they lost to. But yeah, they did.
That was a huge upset in the softball world, especially being from Southern California. But that's what happens. You never know who's going to win.
Mesmer continues her solid week. She's now 3 for 5. Had a couple of hits, 2 RBIs, and a double against Greece, and she finds herself in the designated player position for the way she's swinging it. And for the second time in the game, Canada has a 2-out base hit. This one belongs to Grace Mesmer. Callum Pilgrim having a marvelous tournament. She is from Abbotsford. Has homered. 5 for 11. Couple of doubles. And driven in 4 runs to lead Canada in that department. And is swinging it very confidently. The head coach of Lindsey Wilson College in the United States, junior college. She probably works harder at the game than her own players. And that seems evident this week.
And that's why she's part of such a great program and on Canada's roster. That's what it takes to be these elite athletes. Mexico's defense infield is playing back. I like that with a 1-0 lead. You're not going to chance any ball getting past. You want to make this third out and not let any runner advance.
The outfield is deep in center and especially left. On the ground, takes a hop on Solis. And she's got the job done this week over there, too. Jillian Solis had a key hit, and her play 6-3 ends Canada's second inning. They trail 1-0. That's Softball City. "19-year-old Kiana Estrada from Chino Hills, California, and a member of an excellent program at the University of Arkansas." The first base player did not see a lot of action at Arkansas in her first year, and that happens a lot for first-year players, right, Amanda? In excellent programs. Usually kind of have to wait their turn. But she can swing it. And a hit given up as Estrada pulls it into right. And Mexico, for a second consecutive inning, as the leadoff batter aboard.
Yeah, that year kind of gives them a chance to see what it's all about, let them work through kinks and become good players. And here she is being aggressive on the first pitch, getting on. Again, first batter of the inning, getting on. Let's see if they can produce a run out of it.
Estrada with a big jump. Heredias, a veteran of this Mexico national team. She was here at the 2019 qualifier, here last year, and has played in all the major events. She's in a more prominent role with a lot of graduation after the Olympics. No Vittoria Vidalis and many others. Sydney Romero. I could go on. And probably at some point will. Heredias in right field. Not bunting, taking all the way on the 2-0 pitch from Samantha Ryan, trying to find her groove in Canada's 5th game of 7 in the round robin. So they'll play just one game tomorrow. And a fine bunt. Rive gets out of the catcher's box and throws a strike to Harshman, but the job well done by Stefania Heredias on the sacrifice.
Nicole's had quite the busy tournament back there, getting a couple bunts, throwing people out.
She has split duties so far in the event with Natalie Weidman. And when it comes to decisions for countries that are leaving here, as Canada will, in their case, to play in the third of 3 World Cup qualifying tournaments. There's one going on in Ireland. There will be another next week in Spain. And then the final group of 6 will play at the same site of next year's World Cup. Harshman, 2 down, as catcher Alexia Lopez grounds out.
Center fielder number 27, Elisa Robledo.
Elisa Robledo from Fontana, California, on her way to Fresno State, and well in front of a Samantha Ryan changeup. Alyssa did help Mexico late in 2022 win a bronze medal at the Pan American Championships in Guatemala, and batted .249 in her first year with the Bulldogs. 4 runs batted in. Her best game came against Idaho State when she drove in 2 runs early in the collegiate season on February the 23rd. She'd love to drive one in here, had a good swing. The center fielder for Mexico, Lisa Robledo. It can be tough tracking Team Mexico names because they generally have 4 on their roster. Up the middle, and there is a RBI base hit from Robledo, and Canada finds itself trailing 2-0. And Kaylee Rafter comes out. I think she'll take the ball with her. Let's see if she does. And Mexico trying to even their record at 2-2 and hand Canada a loss. That will be the night for Samantha Ryan, as she gives up 2 Mexico runs on 3 hits. Is Robledo. An RBI single to cash in Kiana Estrada, who opened this bottom of the second with a base hit herself. And now the ball turns over to Morgan Rackle. Morgan is 25. She's from Calgary and had a quality Rackle's first appearance came in Canada's 7-2 win over Italy, and she was good last night, Amanda. 4 innings, 4 hits, just the 1 run, struck out 1 and walked 1. I was very impressed with her work last night against a talent-laden, powerful Italian lineup.
Yeah, facing Italy's roster, for her to do that well and hold them, it's tough. It's tough. She did a great job in just giving her momentum and confidence, which is a key, especially coming up, and then for this Mexico game.
Canada trailing by 2, coming off an 8-0 setback earlier today. Wysocki walked and scored on a wild pitch in the bottom of the first. And Mexico off to a great start. Rive's throw is in time to nail Elisa Robledo. And Canada down by a pair. But this is a quality throw.
Great throw.
3rd inning. Canada looking to get their offense going at the Canada Cup. Catcher Nicole Rivet, who ended the bottom of the second for Canada by throwing out Elisa Reboledo, who is attempting to steal second. But Mexico has struck twice, forced Canada to make a pitching change, and Canada with 2 hits. Just 3 in 7 innings of work so far today after scoring 9, 7, and 7 runs in their first 3. But credit the Arizonan, Racy Miranda, sharp in her first outing and looks good tonight. Rivet knocked down by Miranda. Quality play and almost tossed it away at first. Forced Estrada to make a quality scoop over there.
That's actually a really good play. I know it doesn't look like it, but pitchers defending, you want to, as a defense player, you want to keep the ball away from the pitcher, but she makes a great stop, just knocking it down, continuing with the play, and just getting it over to the first baseman so they can do their job and hold on to it.
Well, it is a rare day that this woman goes through a day without a hit. And on this day, she's 0 for 4 when you combine her first at-bat here, which she still feels is foul and might have had a point. She hasn't had the world's best luck at the plate the last couple of nights. Still 4 for 12. 333 is the batting average. And Kelsey Harshman looking to get her team on track. And she's generally the one to do it. One of the best hitters, I think, in the world. Certainly Canada's best all-around hitter. And the numbers in world and international competition show it. Into the hole. Tough play for Solis, and not in time. An infield single. Just knew she wasn't going to go much longer without reaching base. And Kelsey Harshman has a one-out base hit. Canada's first 2 in the game. Both came with 2.
That's a great play. That's hit right in the 5-6 hole. Backhands it off her front foot. I would have liked to see the first baseman stretch a little more, make that a little closer, get a fun little backhand in. But great play from the shortstop, and great job by Harshman coming out of her little slump.
So Harshman aboard on the infield single. Emma Ansminger, a high chopper, but a tall player at first base is Estrada. And the toss over to the covering Marlene Espinoza, and she can cover a lot of ground, number 16, as she does. Watch how quickly she supports and gets to the bag.
Yeah, that's good communication between the first and second baseman. Sometimes, a lot of the times, we see there be no communication and then no play resulting in another runner on. And they did a good job there.
Zoe Hicks has one of Canada's 3 hits, 6 now in the tournament. And would love one here with Harshman in scoring position. That looked like it went off the hand, the throwing hand of Alexia Lopez. But she did fist and open hand, so looks like she's going to be okay. Canada really needing something to give them some life. Been a tough day so far. And really wondered how, in particular, the bats would bounce back. And their mindset, frankly.
Yeah, they did have a little bit of a break with the parade earlier. A good time for them to kind of go over that game against TC and review some stuff and hopefully bounce back. Canada's not the team that struggles very long, and that's what makes them an elite team. But they're also playing against Mexico, who's going to give them some trouble, and we're seeing that here. So hopefully they can start swinging, getting some hits and scoring.
Well, this is a big rivalry. They met in the bronze medal game at the Olympics. Canada won that game 3-1. Mexico was the first team to qualify here in Surrey, beat Canada 2-0 on a gem by Dallas Escobedo. Canada then the next day knocked off Brazil 7-0 as Kaylee Rafter walked Canada to Japan a little later than she thought, and I thought, when was lucky enough and fortunate enough to call that Olympic qualifying home run here 4 years ago on the 1st of September.
And those rivalries stick. Whether you were on the team for Mexico or not, you know that Canada took away a bronze medal for your country, and that's something that's going to stick for years to come. And it's a fun rivalry for a good reason, and it always something to look forward to.
Zoe Hicks becoming a staple of this Canadian lineup. A little late, but stays alive on the 2-2 foul. Zoe Hicks played this past season senior ball, I understand. She did play collegiately in a career that ended in 2021 at Louisiana Tech. That year she batted .275 with 5 home runs and 55 runs batted in, and in fact then made her way to the Dutch League. Played over in Holland,
which is a really competitive league as well. And
Solis, strong throwing arm. Racy Miranda delivering for Mexico as they continue to lead Canada 2-0 going to the bottom of the third here in South Surrey. A full house. Mainly Canadian fans, obviously, here in British Columbia. And they haven't been overly delighted with what they've witnessed so far, but a long way to go. Canada trailing 2-0 to Mexico, who came into the game with a record of 1-2. Canada 3-1 after falling 8-0 against a very talented college all-star team from the United States known as Triple Crown Colorado. The same program that beat the United States in the 2022 Canada Cup not once but twice before losing in the third meeting of those two teams in the championship final.
Yeah, you mentioned that, Peter, and that's incredible to beat USA twice, and they're doing really well already. And looking forward to see them play the rest of the tournament.
Another assist for Kelsey Harshman as Savannah Wysocki is retired. Morgan Rackle coming on in relief after Samantha Ryan gave up a couple of runs. And Morgan, who played collegiately at Austin P University, looking to shut the door. And pitched very well against a powerful Italian lineup last night. Gave up 1 run in her 4 innings of work in the circle. Into the hole for Leung. And today could be nicknamed whatever your favorite vacuum is. She's a dirt devil today.
Dirt Devil's a good one. That one was easy for her. She makes them all look easy.
Oh, she was as good as the position gets. I've seen 2 brilliant shortstop performances so far this week. One came from Japanese player, and then Janet Leung, and don't want to take anything away. There's some really good shortstops here. Gasparado's done a nice job filling in for the injured Melanie Sheldon and for Amanda Fama. And how can you take away the tournament for shortstops from the woman at the plate? Jillian Solis. A double tonight. 7 for 11 with 4 doubles. Facing Morgan Rackle with 2 out, and she's more than capable of taking one out of here. In her college career at San Diego State, she hit 3 homers in her final season, which was this past. 30 runs batted in. 6 in her collegiate career, and was 6 for 19 at this event 1 year ago. And takes a great pitch on the outside corner from Morgan Rackle, who has her first strikeout in relief of Samantha Ryan. And we're through 3, and it remains Mexico 2, Canada no score. Softball City and the Canada Cup. Both teams have 3 hits in the game. It's Mexico that has 2 runs. This game moving along quite efficiently. Janet Leung, 6 hits already in the tournament, 6 for 13. She grounded out to Kiana Estrada to end the bottom of the first. And has been brilliant over at shortstop defensively. If you had to pick an MVP into day 3 for Canada, she's at the plate. But a long way to go. And Canada hopes Janet Leung continues to stay hot in the batter's box. They lost Larissa Franklin in their exhibition tour games in Nashville against the Women's Pro Fast Pitch League's Florida Vibe, and that's a massive loss for Canada, already without Allison Febvre, and more importantly, longtime star Victoria Hayward, who's now a full-time coach at the University of Washington, coaching with one of the greats in Heather Tarr, who's right now the head coach of the U.S. women's national team and was when they won the title here last year at the Canada Cup. Into the hole, Espinoza talked about the cheek, covers ground. Janet Leung covers ground, quickly running, and give her 7 hits for this Canada Cup.
Like you said, she covers a lot of ground over at second base. Quick transfer, throwing within 1 step, which is crucial. You don't want to waste any steps when you have someone like Janet running down the base. And again, this is a game of inches, and it was just that to keep her safe at first. Good play.
First time in the game that Canada has a leadoff runner aboard, as Janet Leung batting .500 in the tournament. She's 7 for 14. Kiana Jones is an excellent hitter from right here in Surrey. Already has 3 hits in the tournament, including a triple and 3 runs batted in. Inside, good work by Lopez behind home plate to make sure it did not get away. Interesting how Kaylee Rafter plays this. But with a power hitter in Jones, yeah, she's going to let her swing the bat.
Right, this is interesting. Do you chance it, give her an at-bat, give her a chance to swing? And you do, and you get Janet over at second, runners on first and second. Good job clutching up. Let's see if they can keep this little rally going. We've seen a couple of times, Peter, that they get runners on and haven't been able to come through.
Back-to-back hits for Canada to start the 4th, and I had an inkling they were going to let Jones swing, and did, and she produced her first hit of the game, and Canada has back-to-back hits, and there is activity. University of Washington pitcher Lindsay Lopez, who had a fine season for a College World Series participant. Some terrific players on Team Washington, including U.S. national team member Bailey Klingler, who was at the Canada Cup playing for the United States here last year. She gets ready. We're going to stay with Racy Miranda, facing Erica Polidori. Now,
what do you do? Do you give her the chance, or do you play it safe?
Well, no indication of a bunt.
Racy places that outside pitch very good. Outfield's deep.
Brantford's Erica Polidori looking for her first hit of this Canada Cup. Missing down and away, and the count is even. A crucial top of the 4th inning for Canada. They're out-hitting Mexico 5-3, but trailing 2-0, and have yet to score a run in their 2 games today, after scoring a combined 23 in their first 3 games.
I'd like to see a bunt here just to give him a little bit of confidence with runners on first and third and maybe 1 out, put the pressure on Mexico defense. If you think about it, Mexico could be getting fatigued. They just came off the Central American games. They had a little bit of a break, but they're going to be getting tired, so I would put the pressure on. Now there's 2 strikes. The defense is back.
Well, you're swinging away now. And Miranda wanted that, and I can understand why. It just missed. Good pitch from Strawberry, Arizona's Racy Miranda. Polidori just fouled off a very good pitch.
Yeah, that's a great job keeping yourself alive.
Two on, nobody out. Canada down by a pair. Looking to rebound from their first loss against Triple Crown Colorado this afternoon. Punches it. It goes off Estrada, and now you're in no women's land. That's almost impossible for Kiana Jones. Thought the ball was going to be caught. You're doubled up if you don't approach it that way, aren't you?
Right, this is a tough play to read at all angles. And he calls interference, which is interesting. Even though they get her out at second regardless.
So Canada, the issue there is instead of having a runner at first and third, interference is called on Jones. She's out. And Kaylee out to chat with the umpire is Janet Leung, who opened the inning with an infield single, is at second. We've had some interesting scenarios. We had a lengthy delay the other day, a game that was played under protest for about 20 minutes between Italy and Greece before Italy ended up, who started the protest and ended up.
Was it Italy? Or was it?
No, pardon me, it's Israel. Pardon me.
It was Israel.
I get the two I teams mixed up every once in a while. I
and
shouldn't.
They're blue. It's.
Yeah. Absolutely. Thank you for that.
That was a lengthy one. That was tough for everyone.
Yeah, Coach Nikki Palmer of Israel, who are 2-3 in the tournament, already played 5 games. They played the first game of the day today at 11:30. And Italy played Israel today, so I do have both of them on my mind. And Italy, one of the pre-tournament teams to watch, recorded their first win after losing their first 2 games to Canada and Japan. Grace Mesmer is the batter. The call stays. Jones out for interfering with Estrada. Mesmer 1 for 1 in the game. Takes ball 1. Grace is 3 for 5 in the tournament. She's a 22-year-old from nearby Cloverdale. Hit .290 this year at Oregon State. And the count is even at 1-1. Grace helped Canada win a silver medal late in the year at the Pan American Championship. She also played for Canada in this event last year and the 2022 World Games that followed it. That tournament in early July, it was going on at the same time as this tournament, which is back in its normal schedule, was played earlier, the Canada Cup, in late June because of the World Games in Alabama. And this tournament could have its dates moved again next year. Mesmer, a high pop-up. And no trouble for out number 2. And what Canada really needs here is a key hit. They had them earlier in the tournament, but have had a lot of trouble today, especially in this game. I wouldn't count the first game. They only had 1 hit, which is so rare, even for this group, without some very key players. Whether it's job change, injury to Franklin, graduation. I bet Jennifer Sallings down there just outside that coaching box thinking, somebody might want to hand me a bat. Well, I'm thinking somebody might want to hand her a bat. What an incredible career for Jennifer. Ended it with a stellar performance at the Olympic Games.
No better way for an athlete to go out. You know, as a competing, playing against her for a while, you're proud for her to end that way. And I'm sure she's itching a little bit to get out there. We need to see Canada make some type of offensive adjustments. And that's what we saw earlier with Janet, and keeping it simple and being nice and disciplined. So hopefully her team can take note of that, especially how she changed her swing. She kind of separated her hands a little bit and was able to get on top of that ball and rip it into right center. And Canada could use a ball in the hole right now and get one on the board. So let's see if they can sit back and drive one.
Had back-to-back singles to open the inning from Leung and Kiana Jones, and things changed on the interference call against Jones. 3 balls and a strike, and Racy Miranda wearing the protection, as many pitchers do, and for good reason. With the new bat technology.
Absolutely. Every pitcher should wear one. I can't think why they wouldn't, with the bat speed and the force that comes off a bat.
Pilgrim up the middle, base hit. Leung slides in safely. Pilgrim to second, and she stays hot. And Canada on the board in the 4th on Callum Pilgrim's 5th run batted in of this Canada Cup.
She doesn't hit that solid. I'm sure she wanted to really rope one, but Peter, she's able to get it in a spot that's able to produce a run, and sometimes that's all it takes.
A huge hit by Callum Pilgrim. And her 6th hit of this event is a large one. Gets Canada on the board, their first run of the day. And a base hit here could give Canada the lead with Nicole Rivet. She has 1 hit in the tournament, and it was a run-scoring double. She brought in a pair. The catcher tonight for Canada. Canada out hitting Mexico 6-3, but trail 2-1 in this important round-robin affair. More so, I would suggest, in some regards. For Mexico, they want to keep their hopes alive of a top 4 finish. Japan and Triple Crown Colorado and Canada have 3 wins. But Canada has fallen once, and the other 2 are unbeaten. And tomorrow night, if you are a fan of this sport, the final game of tomorrow night will match Japan and Triple Crown Colorado. We'll be buzzing a little in anticipation of that one.
Yeah, how TC performed today against Canada, it makes you question how Japan's going to do. We know how Japan is, but it's going to be really good to see TC put up probably a struggle for Japan.
But the big advantage for Japan, 2 people. the GOAT, in my opinion, certainly one of the greatest of all time, 40-year-old now, Yukiko Ueno, who pitched in her first World Championship as a 19-year-old in Saskatoon in 2002. And 22-year-old Miu Gato. And they were a large reason they combined to pitch Japan to that gold medal game win in their home country. Can you imagine what that would have been like had it been under normal circumstances?
I can't imagine.
You know what it's like to play in that country.
Well, we were able to go watch the game. The other participating teams in the Olympics were able to go watch the game, and it was chilling to watch that. And if that stadium was full, it would have been incredible. I probably would have cried just to see how incredible that is, and to see Team Japan and the passion and how hard they work for it. It would have been incredible if that stadium was full. But it's fun to see the Canadian crowd. I've never played or been in Canada, and so to see how pumped they are to see Team Canada play, it's always interesting to see how the home crowd's going to turn out, and it's a great turnout, and it's fun. A lot of Canada flags.
Yeah, this is a marvelous crowd tonight. Canadians, sports fans, are generally not what I would call overzealous.
Next game.
But they love the game, and they love it in this area. And they love the women's game because this area has produced so many of Canada's best. And there's a couple of reasons. The facility we're in and the weather. This is the one province where the weather is good enough to play outside about 10 months a year. In the prairies where I'm from, trust me, that's not happening. Not without a big dome and under a roof.
Yeah, this is a great facility. I'm bummed I've never been able to play here, but to be here and the energy that's coming from the crowd tonight, especially with bases loaded. Canada down by 1. This crowd's going to get loud.
University of Washington pitcher Lindsay Lopez comes on her second appearance in as many nights, facing Kelsey Harshman with the bases loaded, and Jillian Solis.
What a grab.
Highway robbery.
And that's reaction, Peter. That ball was ripped. She's got a second. She's got one step. All reaction. Get that glove out. Get a little bit of air. And save 2 runs.
You can't hit it any harder. And if that gets in the gap, it might score 3. Jillian Solis has been one of the stars of the tournament. And it remains Canada's on the board. They're down by 1, going 4th here at Softball City. Mexico gets out of a bases-loaded jam on a terrific defensive play by shortstop Jillian Solis, robbing Kelsey Harshman of certainly a base hit and maybe a bases clearing double. It was launched. And Canada scores 1, but still trail. As Morgan Rackle has come on and done a nice job in relief so far, trying to shut the door and give her team more opportunities to come back. And delivers a strike. I see an extra air of confidence in Morgan in comparison to 1 year ago here at the Canada Cup, and I felt for her because she really had to carry this pitching staff. Sarah Groenewegen was not here, and it was an incredibly youthful Canadian staff with all the graduation after the Olympics. No Danielle Laurie, no Jenna Kyra, no Lauren Bay Regula, and then Sarah Groenewegen, who is back this year, took last year off.
Well, I think that's what we've talked about, too, a few times, is how these younger athletes are stepping into these large shoes and they have to fill, and can they step up? Can they take these experiences and learn, or are they going to come here and essentially get rocked and then quit? So to see her out here, to see her work through it to improve, you know she's just going to get better and better and start to be one of those staple pitchers for Team Canada.
And she's only 25. That's just
Which
really, I think, coming into your own in the international game. Madeline Ruffin down the line. Kiana Jones was playing her not to pull, more to hit it in the gap, so she had to cover a lot of ground in right and was unable to get to it. Madeline Ruffin, the designated player, grounded out to Kelsey Harshman over at second in her first time up. Japan and Greece to close it out tonight. And Ruffin having a quality at-bat for Team Mexico. Madeline is from Norco, California. Played at Long Beach State. And strikes out looking. And Morgan Rackle has back-to-back strikeouts since coming in relief of the Canadian starter, Samantha Ryan, who gave up both the Canadian runs.
And you can tell Madeline was expecting not that pitch. Completely, say, deer in the headlights. Caught her off guard. Great job, great sequence throughout that pitching.
Yanino Trevino playing over at third again for Mexico. Played in last year's Canada Cup. Went 3 for 24 in the tournament with a triple, a home run, and 3 runs batted in. Her home run came against the Philippines. Had a triple and a couple of RBIs versus Australia. And fouled that wide of third base. Trevino, born in the year 2002. Played in the December 2021 U18 World Cup for Mexico. And also played in the previous year's U19 World Cup in California. So a young player getting more and more international experience. Emma Ansminger in time. Trevino runs well. That's one of the differences that I think as Mexico's experience grows, they have a lot of speed on this team with some of their young players. They don't have the power of whether it's Romero, Susana Gonzalez, especially Victoria Vidalis, one of the great players for Mexico, who was a star collegiately at Arizona State University. And then they're building around people like the woman at bat, who's 19-year-old Kiana Estrada, and she has some pop. And interesting to note, Mexico to not qualify for any of those World Cup qualifiers. I will have to double check, but almost certain they are not there right now. And if they were going to Spain, they wouldn't be here either. So they're not involved.
And that is surprising, especially the last 3 years, the team they've had. It's a huge surprise for them not to be there. But I know they're also kind of building up their team, looking for the future, as everyone in this sport is, and hoping 2028 softball will be back in the Olympics, and they'll have a set team and make their way to that if it's possible.
Morgan Rackle of Calgary, Alberta, doing a fine job in relief. She has her third strikeout, second of that inning, and Canada comes to bat looking to draw even in the fifth, in their fifth game at the Canada Cup. And I would think they would be feeling like she could be their ace moving forward. Facing Zoe Hicks, who's 1 for 2 tonight, has 6 hits in the tournament. having her breakout moment for Team Canada. That's always fun to witness. From Boissevain, Manitoba. Not exactly a producer, at least not recently. There were a lot of great senior teams out of the Winnipeg area for many years ago. High fly ball. And no trouble for Stefania Herodias. And Lopez comes in and records a couple of outs. Janet Leung has scored Canada's only run. 1 for 2, 7 for 14 now in the tournament. Leading the way. And the changeup from Lopez bounces to catcher Alexia Lopez. But at least if you're going to miss, you're not going to get hurt with that one. Lopez pitched 8 1/3 innings for Washington at the College World Series in Oklahoma City. Leung right through Yanina Trevino. And as I like to refer to it, she is having some kind of tournament. 2 for 3 again in this game.
Yeah, she's really leading this team offense and defensively, if we've seen. Hitting the ball hard. Sometimes your reactions at third base just aren't that fast. And got a leg on it and saved a couple extra bases. But
Kiana Jones, Herodias, and Lopez from Santan Valley, Arizona, gets the job done after the long base hit. And Canada trails it 2-1 with Mexico coming to bat on a beautiful night in Softball City. This is my favorite of the night. Team Ukraine smiles, playing in the U19 Futures Gold Division, and we are so happy to have you here. They know they're on camera. I hope you are being treated like queens.
they absolutely deserve to be here. To see those smiles is everything. And to be able to commentate and broadcast with you and them, it's something really special.
Yeah, we had a chance to call one of their games, and it's about the experience for them, learning against great competition, and just feeling safe and having fun. Boy, we take a lot of things for granted.
And they had a tough start to that game and then came out making great plays and ended up dancing on the field and nothing but smiles. And, again, people donating to bring them out there, extremely worth it. No questions asked.
More than $60,000 was raised in order to bring them over. There was talk about sending them, but with the war efforts, that was the way it had to happen. And those are the things with a lot of Canadian donations, especially right here, that's making a difference. So thank you to everyone, whether it was a big donation, and there was some big ones, or donations of $10 and $15 or $20. I love that. Canada not loving today so far, but this is a fine battle. They have out-hit Mexico 7-3, but trail by a count of 2-1. Mexico looking to run the record to 2-2. Canada trying to move to 4-1, which would almost certainly guarantee them a top 4 spot. And unless you finish first, that's the only place you can really finish to avoid the teams right now that look like they could finish first and second, and that's Japan and Triple Crown Colorado. Ensminger. One down. Herodias is retired for the second time in the game. She had a sacrifice bunt her first time up. And Morgan Rackle, give her credit. She has shut the door since coming into the game in the second inning. And a healthy cut by the catcher, Alexia Lopez, fouls that back. Lopez is from Eastvale, California, and pulls this down the line fair. She runs well and has a one-out double for Mexico. Alexia Lopez, who just finished her first year at Cal State Fullerton, has an insurance run and scoring position for Team Mexico.
Yeah, looks like Rackle left that one a little bit in the middle. At this level, you can't do that too often. You're going to get hit, you're going to get doubles, even home runs.
And a meeting just amongst the group in the infield. And Canada does not want to give up another run. Just an awesome crowd in attendance tonight. The terrific president of this event, and for a long time, and can't even imagine the amount of hours Greg Tim and this committee put in to organize an event where this year's theme is about the inspiration of sports. And I think it's marvelous. I could never even start to give back to what sports has provided my world. Alyssa Reboledo, who had an RBI hit back in the second that gave Mexico this 2-1 lead, facing Morgan Rackle, who asked why that was a ball.
Yeah, that was good. That was good placement there. Good job not chasing it. This is an eager situation. You want to hit that ball. You want to get that run in. To have discipline is going to be key here. Again, a situation, shorten up, put the ball in play. We love home runs, but get the ball in play and move that runner over.
Fouled back. Alyssa Robledo batting in the number 9 spot, but has the biggest hit of this game, coming off her first year at Fresno State. Was a high school star at Ramona High. And Morgan Rackle pulls the string at a very opportune time.
And what a great changeup. Where that breaks is key. Making the hitter chase and have no chance at hitting that ball. Great strikeout. leading to 2 outs.
And the Canadian pitching coach on the way to the mound. It has been Florida State head coach Lonnie Alameda for the last number of years. Lonnie not involved with Team Canada's program this summer. She guided her team to the final. Christian Conrad is the Canadian pitching coach. Been a nice fit, and chatting with Kaylee about him just before the tournament when they were training in Oshawa back in Ontario. Savannah Wysocki, the leadoff batter for Mexico, trying to add to her team's advantage. She's walked and scored, grounded out. Leung, quick release, inning over. This has been one of the best games so far of this Canada Cup. And we're a long ways away from deciding a winner tonight in front of the best crowd of the event, Canada and Mexico, the rivalry alive and well at Softball City. Flags flying, softball teams well represented, dancing in the aisles. Great night for international women's softball. Lindsay Lopez came on in relief. Racy Miranda gave Mexico an excellent pitching performance tonight. Did give up the 1 run. Canada with 6 hits off Racy Miranda. Erica Polidori reached on an interesting play in the game. Canada had back-to-back hits in the 4th, and she hit a ball that was bobbled by Kiana Estrada at first, and it was ruled that Kiana Jones interfered with Kiana Estrada, and Kiana Jones of Canada was called out. That's a lot of Kianas.
It's a tough play to have to repeat, let alone
retell. Polidori has been on base just once, and she is in a good hitter's count here. And I expect Erica's bat to get going before this tournament comes to a conclusion. And this would be a great time. And she ripped it. Attention is right. Come on, tap L2. Yikes, in any language. the payoff pitch on its way in the top of the 6th from Lindsay Lopez. Espinoza backhanded it. Didn't look like she had to, but did, and did it well. And Polidori goes down with the first out of the 6th. Grace Mesmer. 3 for 6 in this Canada Cup, hitting very well. 1 for 2 tonight. Is she 1 for 2 still? Yes. We've seen some odd things off bats in this event. Just ask Kelsey Harshman, who recorded an out in a game yesterday where the ball started about 2 feet foul and spun fair before it got to first. She hasn't had the world's best luck after day 1. Hit an absolute rocket that could have given Canada the lead in the 4th with the bases loaded, but robbed by Jillian Solis, who's been Mexico's MVP so far in this event. She's been superb. Mesmer had a good cut at that. The Cloverdale product. Great park over in her home community. And it is playing host to this particular tournament. Hello. Nobody needs to see that. At least one half. That would be mine.
They want to see who's calling the game.
I guess. 2 balls, 2 strikes. I was wondering why you were waving. Mesmer launches it on her way to second, and Grace Mesmer has her second double of the Canada Cup, and Canada has the tying run at second base. And she has found her stroke. 4th hit, second double. And remember, when you play at Oregon State, this isn't her first at-bat against Washington pitcher Lindsay Lopez. Callum Pilgrim in the hole. Will they wave the runner? Chris Jones, the third base coach, holds on the throw from Savannah Wysocki, and back-to-back base hits has Canada 60 feet away from tying the game. And Callum Pilgrim has another 2-hit night.
She's really on fire and leading this team, as they all kind of are in their own way, but great job being aggressive. First pitch, she saw it well. Did what she was supposed to do. Now we have runners on second and third. Good scoring position.
And Team Mexico needs a mound visit after the double by Mesmer and the follow-up single off the bat of Callum Pilgrim, who's 7 for 13 in the tournament with another multi-hit night. Callum had 2 hits, a double and a run batted in against Italy. Was 2 for 3 opening night with a double and a home run against Australia. And she's 2 for 3 tonight. And Nicole Rivet, the batter, 1 out, the tying run, 60 feet away. And she'd love to cash in her 3rd run of the tournament. And had a good cut at the Lopez offering. Been one of the best games, certainly on this diamond. 2 are in use. This diamond, the main one, and primary usage. There's been a few games next door on Diamond 2.
You can see Mexico's infield creeping up. They definitely don't want this run to score.
Lopez, an excellent changeup that just missed. 1 ball and 1 strike to Nicole Rivet. And if anything, you want to make sure you'd like to hit it hard somewhere or drive it into the outfield. She does!
That's perfect. Gonna bring in 2 runs.
2-run score. Nicole Rivet's biggest hit for the Canadian women's national team. And Canada leads for the first time. It's 3-2. Goes the other way with an outside drop and pokes it into right field. Nicole Rivet comes up large. The product of Oakville, Ontario. And lots of high fives in the Canadian dugout.
You can tell she's pumped. The crowd is pumped for it. Scoring those 2 runs give Canada the lead. But she does a great job just barreling it up, we say, getting that barrel up, not blooping it, but getting a solid hit on the right side, which is able to score that runner from second. If it's hit to the left side, it's a little more difficult for that runner to score from second.
Nicole Rivet has 2 hits, and they've both been run-scoring 2 RBI singles. 1 against Australia, but this, her biggest ever hit as a member of the national team to this point. And you could see the exuberance as you get an opportunity in this sport, if you're unfamiliar, with 2 out, to have a courtesy runner for the catcher. It's a move to try to speed up the game, allow her to get dressed and get ready to start the next inning. Harshman, see you later.
I was just going to say, that's not the batter you want coming up when Canada's got a rally going, and that's exactly why. Well earned.
The professional hitter does it again. Her first home run of the Canada Cup.
It's been brewing, I think, Peter. We've felt it. She hasn't had luck on her side, but she beat that with her athleticism. And seeing that ball well, she knew as soon as she hit that.
A home run, a 2-run shot as Canada explodes for 4 here in the top of the 6th and lead it by a count of 5-2. They had been pressing and pressing and put it together here in the top of the 6th. And they're dancing now, the Canadian supporters, as Delta British Columbia's 26-year-old Kelsey Harshman comes through again. You're right, I love the word you used. It was brewing, percolating.
I think that's what Canada needed. They had a tough loss this morning, came into this game not the Team Canada we're used to. But this inning, the Canada we're used to is back, and that's going to pump everyone up leading into the next couple games, and they're back.
A 2-run single by Nicole Rivet, followed up by a 2-run homer, courtesy of Kelsey Harshman, her first home run of the Canada Cup. She drove in 12 runs in this tournament 1 year ago. And a pitching change for Team Mexico. These 2 pitchers have worked. Miranda, the starter. And now Canada set to face number 1, who is Alexandra Aguiar. Aguiar has 2 2/3 innings in the game against TC, Colorado. And nobody has fun against that group. Gave up 6 runs on 6 hits, although 4 of them were earned. So a defensive miscue did not help her cause. Is Aguiar into the game for Team Mexico. A right-hander and a youngster who was not on Mexico's original roster. But comes in relief of Lindsay Lopez. And Canada was able to get to the University of Washington pitcher tonight, which is not easy to do.
This is a tough position to come in, I can imagine. The crowd's fired up, Canada's fired up. Got Emma coming up to bat.
And I wonder if there'll be some other changes to go along. This is not... No, there are. Because Savannah Wysocki, who started the game and left, is left-handed, and she's not in the game. All the outfielders are right-handed. So it looks like she has come out, and we'll wait for the public address announcer. Very difficult from this angle. We're far enough away not to be able to see who has come into play in left. Trevino out. Bracamonte comes in at third, and we have certainly seen her over there. So some changes.
Going to third base, becoming the OBO number 29, Yanina Trevino. Through the troisième but numéro 19. Batting for Team Canada, number 19, Emma Insminger.
And maybe that still is Wysocki. She just... No, she's left-handed. And that's a right-handed throwing fielder. But I did not hear any change outside of what we had. Alexandra Aguiar is from Corona, California. A high school graduate. So a very young pitcher in a tough spot. And we saw that last night for Canada with 16-year-old Morgan Reimer, followed up by 17-year-old Ruby Anderson. Is Alexandra Aguiar, the Californian, comes in, according to some quick research, still looking for a college commitment, but that one might not come until 2024. And Team Mexico's roster, unlike every other roster here, does not come with date of birth filled in. Well, it's always interesting. And Emma Ensminger, the first Canadian batter to face the youngster, Alexandra Aguiar, in her second appearance of this tournament from Corona, California. Draws a walk. Japan and Greece to close it out tonight. And Zoe Hicks looks to add to her impressive Canada Cup debut at this level. So he does have a hit tonight. She's 1 for 3. Nice touch, Luciano. A man who does only have 2 hands, but seems like he has 7. And base hit number 2 of the game for Hicks. Struggle in the outfield. And Canada has 5 runs in the 6th. And Zoe Hicks drives in a run. Emma Ensminger, and the bobble in the outfield certainly helped.
And Zoe picks up her coach well, reads the ball, stumbles a little bit, sees that ball's fumbled, takes an extra base getting into third, putting herself in a scoring position with Janet up.
I don't see an error on the board. So potentially it's a triple for Hicks. And Janet Leung, who has 2 more hits, scored the first Canadian run. Up to 8 hits in the tournament. And Canada out-hitting Mexico 12-4 now, and have exploded for 5 in the 6th. And looking to add some more, and might. Leung deep over the head of Aridius. She's on her way to third. Janet Leung have a tournament.
I can't talk enough about her. Everything she's doing is really amazing. With a slower pitcher, she has to be disciplined to hit that ball to right center, and she does a great job. Few feet short of the fence, racking up her 2nd home run it would have been, but great job, like I said, being disciplined, waiting enough to take that to the right side.
A triple and another run batted in. 9 for 16 by my count for Janet Leung. As Kiana Jones trying to add to the Canadian advantage. How things can change in a hurry. Canada struggled to score, couldn't get a key hit until Nicole Rivet followed up by a 2-run shot by Kelsey Harshman, who's had many a big hit for Canada. Zoe Hicks continues her strong tournament with 2 more hits, and Janet Leung is swinging it unlike I've ever seen, and I've been watching her in international competition since the World Junior Tournament in 2013.
That's a great inside pitch, especially with the Canada roster coming alive. To throw that ball inside and get a called strike is a great job.
And feel for this youngster. This is a really tough spot to be in, but Mexico at this point feeling like they don't want to use any of their veteran pitchers. Leung caught up in a rundown. Well, she is human this week. And she almost.
And she's just being aggressive. She's being her and unfortunately got caught up. And those mistakes shouldn't be happening, but when you have a 7-2 lead, you're not going to get chewed out or yelled at as you would if it's a 2-1 game. Again, nothing you really want to happen, but a little bit of leeway here with a lead.
Canada bats around here in the top of the 6th. Erica Polidori's 2nd at-bat of the inning. She grounded out. And then Canada's been on a tear ever since.
And they say, Peter, when your team is a team and you're down and you find momentum, they say hitting's contagious. And I think we've seen that tonight with Canada, just hit after hit after hit, scoring and coming back from starting off slow.
I believe they have 6 or 7 hits in this inning alone. My count is 6, including a 2-run homer, a 2-run single, a triple, 2 of them, in fact, and 6 Canadian runs. They trailed, and Erica Polidori is going to record her first hit and run batted in. And she has to feel good about that. And it's 8-2, Canada.
Same thing here, waiting on it, taking it to the right side, getting a lot of action out there and switching spots. A lot of base running for Team Canada, and they're doing well at it.
And the young woman who started it all with a double with 1 out, Grace Mesmer, who has 4 hits in 6 official appearances. And a couple of doubles. 2 hits tonight. She's 2 for 3. And Canada, with 1 more run here, would have a chance to close it out in the bottom of the inning. Solis will prevent that. But much to the delight of the pro-Canadian crowd, here in Surrey, the home team finds its way at home plate and scores 7 and leads 8-2, going to the bottom of the 6th, looking to win their 4th game of the Canada Cup.
7 hits.
Well, the dancers are feeling even happier now with that Canadian flag. Canada with a 7 spot in the top half of the 6th on 7 hits, couple of doubles, 2 triples, and a 2-run home run from Kelsey Harshman, and have turned what was an early 2-0 deficit into an 8-2 lead. And now, after just, you can't say enough tonight about Morgan Rackle and the job she did in relief, coming in with Canada down 2-0 after she took the ball from Samantha Ryan. And now Sarah Groenwagen. And I certainly raised an eyebrow or two. Sarah comes back in. She threw 5 strong innings in the tournament opener against Australia, Canada's #1 pitcher, but took a year off last year. And I think really trying to get herself back in a groove. Janet Leung. Look at the smile. I know you appreciate great shortstop play.
The shortstop,
the pictures tell the story on television.
When your pitcher walks over to you to go high-five you, you know you're doing well. And I don't have anything else to say about Janet.
Who could? Who
She's
could?
just done phenomenal. This is going to be a tournament she remembers for her performance.
And Solis, a very tough out. We were having a conversation about Sarah coming into this game after being roughed up by Triple Crown Colorado this afternoon in 2 1/3 innings, where she gave up 5 runs on 7 hits. 4 of them were earned. And you wondered, with an 8-2 lead, did she want the ball? She want an opportunity to come out tonight and kind of already have a different mindset in a race. Sarah Groenwagen has not had many of those.
Right, and so I think that's a high possibility that she wanted to come back in, kind of redeem herself mentally from that, and she's the athlete that's going to work to get where she needs to get. That wasn't her that we saw earlier, and she knows that, and so it is 8-2. You don't need a closer in here like her, but she wants to get that work, and she wants to start to feel good leading into the rest of the week in these games. But the World Cup qualifier coming up, so I think she was definitely okay with coming in if it wasn't her call. And here she is throwing a nice changeup with a smile on her face. You can tell she's happy about that. She's feeling better already.
And that's why she went and gave the high five to Leung, because that ball was hit sharply to start the inning. And another good changeup from Sarah Groenwagen, the 28-year-old who grew up literally in this park. Her dad, I'm not sure if her dad's still, but for a long time, he was the head of the grounds crew here. So
small world. And I've been told, Peter, from a pitcher, that when your defense is on point, making great plays, it's easier for you to pitch. You know your team's behind you, and Sarah came off, this entire Canada team's coming off with smiles, feeling confident in each other.
Another stellar defensive play by Janet Leung and Sarah Groenwagen. As a result, has a 1-2-3, bottom of the 6th, and Canada leading big now. If you just tuned in, it did not look this way for a long time. Back after this. There have been a lot of great stories for Canada so far. A team that still continues to be in transition after the greatest moment in Canadian women's softball history, a bronze medal at the Olympic Games. Certainly the victory over the Pan Am and winning that gold medal over the United States back in 2015. Canada also beat the United States in 1983 to win the Pan American gold medal with a bunch of players I was very familiar with. Pilgrim, does she have another? Yes, she does. Her second of the tournament.
Dead center field. That's one to be proud of.
A no-doubter for Callum Pilgrim. And poor Alexandra Aguiar, the young 17-year-old. Maybe she's 18. And Canada, Callum Pilgrim and Janet Leung will never forget the 2023 Canada Cup.
I don't think I will, just because of their performance. And again, with Mexico's young pitching staff, unfortunately, the best way to learn is to just go through it. And it's tough. It's tough to push through and know essentially you're getting rocked out there. But as a pitcher, again, you take two roads. You give up or you find a way to get better. You force ground balls here, get them to chase, and just learn from this opportunity.
Natalie Weidman in to hit. Canada's had some number changes with these black tops and black pants. Don't remember Natalie wearing that elbow pad at the plate, which is why I checked to look.
Did she get hit this week?
I don't
I might be
remember.
thinking.
Now, maybe. I mean, she's a catcher, and as you well know, lots of things happen back there.
It's probably a good idea to have an Evo shield on your front elbow in this game.
So Callum Pilgrim's outstanding tournament continues. Tonight, 3 hits, a home run in the tournament. Callum Pilgrim some quick math, because our stats program unfortunately does not allow us to update immediately. And on a night where nothing was going right for the home team, now everything is. Struggling to score. Were involved in a game earlier today where they were blanked 8-0 in 5. Down 2-0 after 2 tonight. And Kelsey Harshman, a big reason, that 2-run homer in the 7-run 6th opened the door. And now Mexico's number 1. I feel exactly the same way for Alexandra Aguiar as I did in some ways for Canada's 16-year-old Morgan Reimer last night against Italy. This is a hard indoctrination against world-class lineups. Harshman has her second of the night, and it is a blast.
Over the bleachers.
Back-to-back 2-run homers from Kelsey Harshman.
That first pitch, I actually liked. I think it should have been a called strike. Harshman didn't like it for a reason. She took this one clear over the fence.
clobbered. And Canada with 3 more in the 7th. And Shania Twain with a home run song. Let's go, girls. Well, the bats are awake. And Alexandra, you are an excellent young player, and there will be nights where it will be your turn. Always important to remember that.
Exactly. She has to remember who she's facing, how this team's been performing already in this tournament, and they were bound to come alive again, and they did, and continued to with her pitching, and so she'll learn.
The pitcher is Yanina Trevino, who actually started this game at third. And she enters the contest. Canada has exploded for 11 runs on 17 hits. And it felt for a long time, Amanda, like it wasn't going to happen for them. Racy Miranda pitched very well, but Canada got to Lindsay Lopez, who pitched in this tournament last year for Triple Crown Colorado.
Yeah, Racy did great, held them off. Mexico had the lead for a while, and we were excited about this being such a great game. And I mean, Mexico held them off. This is Canada, Team Canada building each year. They did well, and they're going to, again, they'll look back at film and take notes of this game for sure.
And for 5 innings, this was a terrific game. 2-1, Canada scratching, clawing, literally. And Nicole Rive with a 2-run single, followed up by a 2-run homer by Kelsey Harshman. And all of a sudden, 2-1 Mexico became 5-2 Canada, and the onslaught was on. Pilgrim is homered. Kelsey Harshman has 2 2-run homers. Emma Ensminger has homered again. What is going on? She has her second of the Canada Cup. I will remember this one for a long time. Not because of the score, but just how the game absolutely flipped on its head.
I mean, now it's a hit fest. It is. But this is also the best of the best. And I'll be critical that Mexico needs to stop leaving the ball over the plate. They need to maybe make Canada chase a ball with them being so eager, but they need to do something to get in out here and get out of this inning.
Zoe Hicks, she's had another big night, another RBI. Or actually does not have a run batted in, but has 2 more hits, including a double, and scored one of the 7 Canadian runs in the top of the 6th. Canada adding 4 more here with still nobody out. And if you are a Canadian supporter, at this point, you might be thinking, maybe save a couple of these.
Maybe head to the outfield.
This isn't going to be easy for Trevino, but she made a good play. As Zoe Hicks grounded one that almost acted like a bunt that wasn't. Nice work by Trevino, who's a good fielder as a pitcher because she spends more time over at third, certainly in this tournament, than she has on the rubber. Well, Janet Leung has just done everything she's wanted to do. It has been an absolute pleasure to watch this woman work this week. She's never had an international week like this, and it's Wednesday.
Yeah, this has been exciting for me as well. Every time she does something, I'm up here jumping, and I think we can all appreciate as shortstops, as infielders, as softball players, the amazing plays. If you can't appreciate another athlete's athleticism in a game, then it's telling you something about yourself. But she's done amazing, and I have become a Janet fan.
Well, I've been a Janet fan for quite some time, and I know you have. If you ever have an opportunity to chat with her, she is a delight to deal with. She is highly intelligent, played at Brown University.
And I think when you can have the respect from other players, like athletes respect her, that tells you something about her as a player. But I do want to note that that's a great job getting a ground ball to the right side, getting it out. Good job here, Mexico. Keep going. Get a ground ball.
The most productive week Janet has had recently in international competition. Kiana Jones, is that gone? That's gone too. Feeling all right. Everybody. Now Kiana Jones, who certainly has that type of capability. She goes deep. Erica Polidori had her first hit, a double, in this stunning turn of events. 12 runs in the last two Canadian at-bats. Getting back to the Janet Leung story, she was 6 for 12 at the qualifier here in 2019. 4 for 18 at the Olympics. 4 for 13 at last year's Canada Cup. 3 for 10 at the World Games. 3, 4, and 4 in those international events adds up to 11. She has 10 hits in 3 days this week. And Erica Polidori. This might be the best thing of anything for Canada moving forward. And I'm not kidding. To see Erica Polidori start to get on track. She was 0 for this event before the 31-year-old veteran has now gone 2 for 2 in her last 2 at-bats. That might be as important as anything moving forward, trying to win this event and get themselves ready to earn a berth into next year's Women's World Cup. And they'll have to qualify to do just that and be in the final field of 8 next year in Italy, and they're going to Italy next week.
That's right, Peter. You want your team feeling good. You want them all getting reps in, as many as you can, feeling good for each other as well, because it's a team event and the team chemistry is important. And if you can get in, get some hits, get a rally going for yourself leading into the end of the tournament, but carrying that over to the World Cup qualifier is big, and that's
Sarah Groenwagen trying to join the hit parade. flies out, and the inning is over. Canada had 1 hit in 5 innings this afternoon. They have 20 tonight. Talk about blowing the doors wide open. It's 13-2, and Canada's 3 outs away from improving their round-robin record to 4-1 in Surrey. A lot of Canadian smiles and a lot of young players in attendance participating either just locally or in the U17, the U19, 2 separate divisions here in Surrey. Sarah Groenewegen in her 2nd inning of relief pulled the string on now pitcher Yanina Trevino. And did it again.
Back-to-back change-ups.
Did she throw a third?
I would at this point. She's feeling good with it.
She did, and Trevino expected it. Polidori back, and she's got it.
I like that she threw that. She's going to remember that. She's going to learn from it. She's feeling good, but she got a little lazy on that and left it high, and so she's going to come back here, focus in.
So gets another nice defensive play to start an inning. Received a dynamite play from Janet Leung, who's done nothing but at shortstop on the first batter for Sarah Groenewegen. And again, the score does not reflect it. But without the stellar work in relief of Morgan Rackle, Canada doesn't have a chance to do what they've done offensively. Samantha Ryan started, the 21-year-old youngster, gave up 2. Morgan Rackle from Calgary came in, shut the door. That's what you ask. It's like in the sport of hockey. You want your goalie to give you a chance to win. Morgan Rackle gave her team a chance to win, and they're going to win. Ensminger. And that's rare. An error for number 19 at third. Probably a little tired. Everybody caught up in all the fun. You know it's almost over.
It's been a long day for them.
It has.
No doubt, but again, that's an easy play. Got to focus in. They're having fun, but this is the elite of the elite. There's not going to be a comeback here, but still it's a play that needs to be made. And it's rare when that happens, you're right.
Well, to her.
Yeah.
The World Games last year, 11 for 11 over at third. The Olympic Games for Emma, 17 for 17.
And what sucks is that becomes embarrassing for yourself now, even though she's had a great game. Those easy plays, you're like, oh, man, I don't do that. But, again, they've got the leeway with a 13-2 lead.
Heredias fouls it back. One out. This one has lasted a while. Don't forget, Canada, after playing that game, a shortened game, a tough one for this group to lose 8-0 to anyone. Triple Crown Colorado beat them 8-0 in 5 innings, held them to 1 hit. Then they were involved in the parade of athletes and then had to play this game. Sarah Groenwegen, that might have been her best changeup. And Luciano Lafrano, he and his wife, who do such a marvelous job with Softball Premier TV, providing the pictures, including that one from his friend that I am nicknaming Donnie Drone. And Donnie was caught up in the fence earlier this week.
He could have been caught up if he was out there last inning.
Yeah, could have been aboard a ball. Alexia Lopez trying to keep Mexico's slim hopes alive. They're going to fall to 1-3. But if you're Team Mexico under the guidance of head coach Nancy Prieto, you really want to focus on what happened in 5 innings. And should.
Right, they should. They played great. And then Canada opened a can and just scored, and their bats came alive, and there's no stopping them when they get to that point. And so, exactly like you said, Peter, focus on those 5 innings, focus on the good, and take that into the next couple days.
Well, Canada will play Israel tomorrow, and I've been impressed with that Israel team, who's 2-3. And then Japan, Friday at 6, to close out the round robin. Tomorrow at 8:30, after the Canadian game, it's Japan and Triple Crown Colorado. Zoe Hicks thought the game was over. Natalie Weidman threw a strike to first. That was close.
That was close. It looked like she got her hand in there, but again, good throw. It's tough to stay focused on the bases in a game like this, and that's hard, but she did get her hand in there.
It's tough to stay focused in the booth. Alexia Lopez. What a great time.
Great pitch.
Game over. There were not a lot of smiles today for Team Canada through 10 innings of work, 5 against Triple Crown Colorado. 5 more innings tonight against Mexico. They trailed 2-1. And then the can was opened. 7 in the 6th, 5 more in the 7th. And Canada, with a 20-hit attack, 4 home runs or 5. Harshman 2, Pilgrim, Ansminger, Jones. We'll check it all out later. You've probably seen enough. Canada, 4-1. All but putting themselves in a top 4 position now going into the playoffs. They rebound from a 8-0 setback this afternoon to beat Mexico 13-2. So long for at least 20 or 30 minutes for me. Amanda, thank you for another great day, and we'll catch up on the air and on the way to the park tomorrow.
Thank you, Peter.
Good night for now. Japan and Greece next to wrap up day 3 at the Canada Cup.
For the latest in softball innovation, the website where you can experience the best tournaments in the Americas. Live games, news, tournaments, and much, much more. The best quality live softball, on demand so you can watch when you want. Become a Premier member now, softballpremiertv.com.